What is going on, guys? Today is a no hairdo day and we're gonna talk about acidity in coffee. Are you like one of these customers whenever you walk into a coffee shop and you ask your barista what's on the menu or what coffee they're serving, and they'll be like, "Oh sir, today we're gonna serve you a Gyro Acryla from Colombia. It has tasting notes of fruitiness, peach, and slight acidity," and you're like, I ain't gonna have no acidity in my coffee. I just want something strong, something gao, and something bitter and bold that gets me started for the day. Well, today we're gonna debunk that theory of why maybe acidity in coffee is actually a good thing and not necessarily a bad thing. Stay tuned. Before we dive into why acidity is actually beneficial in coffee or is actually a good thing in coffee, we have to talk about how coffees are extracted, right? In terms of espresso or any other brewing method, but espresso is particularly very sensitive, right? Because it's amount of pressure going in a short period of time, 30 seconds or under usually. And so how espresso is extracted is you can think about it in three phases. The first phase are all the acidic and sour notes of the coffee. The middle phase are all the sweetness and the nice balanced syrupy notes that are in the coffee. And then if you push the coffee towards higher extraction, you get the bitter notes. So ideally, whenever you want to extract coffee, you want the sour notes to come out. You don't want to just stop there. You want to go all the way till you fully extracted the sweetness in the coffee of the second phase, and you want to stop just right there before the bitterness comes in, right? So that's the whole basic structure of how coffees are extracted. Now let's just talk about acidity in coffee. You know, a lot of people, especially us as Asia culture, we tend to think about acidity as something that is very bad, right? But let me just give you a very a prime example for those of you who are celebrating Chinese New Year and so on, or even if you just consume orange, right? A fruit, orange fruit. Orange is, if you think about it, is inherently sour, is inherently acidic, right? But have you ever had a orange that when you try, you're like, oh, this orange is really good because it's sweet, right? You say like, oh, this is really sweet. But if you think about it, it's actually not sweet. It's still acidic base, right? But it has that sweetness coming out from it. So coffee is exactly like that, right? You have bad acidity, but you have sweet coffee, right? And when we say sweet, we don't mean simple sugars like just drowning yourself with molasses and just sugar, right? But we mean sweetness as in the mouthfeel and the taste, with the gentle taste on your tongue, right? So, same thing for coffee. When you compare to oranges, there are bad coffee that are not extracted properly, and they can be acidic and foul, and it just give you that pucker notes, and you just don't want it, right? There could be coffee that are acidic, that yet at the same time has that sweetness and that rounded body to it, right? Just the same thing like a sweet orange. So if you go to a coffee shop and they know what they're doing, you will find that acidic coffee would actually taste really good and really refreshing, depending if it's a hot drink or a cold drink, just because it has that complexity towards it. And so I hope that this video would just maybe open up your minds a little to maybe try to explore acidic coffee, right? So next time, go to your favorite coffee shop, and if they have various coffees for you to try something that has a tasting notes of fruitiness, or lime, or lemon, right? That kind of notes, if the barista knows what he or she is doing, it can give you a very complex cup that over time, you obviously have to develop that palate, right, of liking it. Over time, you'll see that maybe you'll start to enjoy acidic coffee. And at the end of the day, maybe after a year or so, you would say that acidic coffee might not be necessarily a bad thing. So that's all for our video today. It's pretty short. I just want to debunk this whole theory of acidic coffee, and hope that helps you. And if it helps you, subscribe, like, and see you next video.